Hello guys, so now we shall be moving on to the next topic, that is medulla oblongata. Okay, so we shall see what are the external features of medulla oblongata. So our topic of discussion would be external features of medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. So in this we shall be discussing the external features. So what will be the external features of medulla oblongata? There are actually many external features. So we shall discuss all these external features with the help of the diagrams. Okay. So first of all, you need to know that the complete medulla oblongata is not in the skull. Half of the medulla oblongata is outside. Little part of the medulla oblongata is outside the foramen magnum also. Right. So I hope you know this thing. Second important thing is that if you look at medulla oblongata, there we shall discuss this medulla oblongata in two weaves. One is called as an anterior weave, another one is called as a posterior weave. Okay, so for example, if you see this paper over here, right, so this is called as an anterior weave of medulla oblongata, and back, if you can see, this is called as a posterior weave of the medulla oblongata. So anterior weave is also called as a ventral weave. So this is the ventral surface of the medulla oblongata, and this is the dorsal surface or the posterior surface of the medulla oblongata. Okay, so let us see first of all regarding the anterior weave of the medulla oblongata. Let us see regarding the anterior or the ventral weave of medulla oblongata. So how does an anterior or ventral weave look? So before we discuss the anterior or ventral weave, first of all you need to know that this structure is called as crus cerebrus, right crus cerebrus, and this structure over here is called as your left crus cerebrus. Okay, so right and left crus cerebrus, and down here you have got this particular structure, and this particular structure which I am drawing right now is called as your pons. Okay, so this particular part over here is called as your pons. Now just beneath the pons, what is the structure do you have? What is the structure that is located beneath the pons? Obviously medulla oblongata. So just look at the picture of medulla oblongata. So this is your medulla oblongata in this way. Okay, so this is your medulla oblongata. Now this medulla oblongata is having many other structures which you can see over here, right? So let us see what are these structures one by one. For example, let us say, see this structure which I am shading right now, right? So this structure, let me use another color. You see this structure over here? So this structure which I am shading right now, these are called as a pyramid. So this structure is called as your right pyramid, and this one which I am shading right now is called as your left pyramid. So how many pyramids of medulla oblongata we have got? Right and left pyramid. Okay, so this is your right pyramid and the other one is called as your left pyramid. First of all, let me name these parts. So this part over here is called as your right pyramid. Okay, this part over here is called as your left pyramid. Okay, next important thing is that you see these round shaped bodies which are located on the outer parts of the medulla oblongata like this. So these structures over here are called as olives. Okay, so one you have is the right olive and the other one you have is the left olive. So this structure over here is called as your olives. So olives, actually it is olive, but one on the right and left together you call it as your olives. Okay, so these are the two important things which you need to know. Second important thing is that you can see this center part which I'm drawing like this, right? This center line in between the pyramids. This center line which is present in between the pyramids this is a view from anterior or posterior. This is a view from anterior. So it is called as anterior, and this line is exactly located in the center. So you call it as a median, anterior, median, and this is called as a fissure. So this is called as your anterior median fissure. Okay, so this is your anterior median fissure. Now after this anterior median fissure, there are two more structures that are located on either side. For example, you see this particular structure over here, and in the same way you see this particular structure over here. So what are these two structures? These two structures are also located anteriorly. So antero, are they located in the center or laterally? They are located laterally. So you can call it as anterolateral sulcus. Anterolateral sulcus. Why are you calling it as lateral? Because they are located laterally. Why are you calling it as anterior? Because right now we are discussing the anterior view. Okay, right. So till here you understood these two are called as olives, left pyramid, right pyramid, anterolateral sulcus, anteromedian fissure. Okay, right. Now the junction between the pons and medulla oblongata. So where is the junction? See, this is the junction between the pons and medulla oblongata. So this junction between the pons and medulla oblongata is called as pontomedullary junction. So this one over here is called as pontomedullary junction. Okay, this is called as pontomedullary junction. Second important thing is that there are nerve fibers over here. For example, let us say there are some nerve fibers from the right pyramid. From the right side, there are some bundle of tracts, okay, bundle of nerve fibers, bundle of axons or bundle of tracts. They are running from the right pyramid to the left pyramid, like this. They are running from the right pyramid to the left pyramid in this way. Crossing what? Crossing your anterior median fissure, they are running onto the left side. In the same way, there are bundle of fibers from the left side that are running on to the right side. Again, crossing what? Crossing the same anterior median fissure. So as these fibers are crossing, this is called as decussation. And this decussation is happening within the pyramid. So you call this decussation as pyramidal decussation. You heard of pyramidal tracts? Right, the pyramidal tracts decussate, right? So this is the decussation which I am showing here. Decussation means crossing. So important thing you need to know is that this thing over here is called as pyramidal decussation. This is called as pyramidal decussation. Okay. Second important thing is that medulla oblongata is completely a single structure. No. Medulla oblongata is divided into two important structures. What are these two important structures? See, for example, if I am drawing a dotted line like this, right? So this dotted line will divide the medulla oblongata into two parts, the upper part and the lower part, right? So medulla oblongata is divided into two parts. This is called as the upper part of the medulla oblongata and this one is called as the lower part of the medulla oblongata. So how did you draw a line? On what basis did you draw a line? Did you draw a line exactly just in the center or did you draw a line based upon some structures? Actually, we draw a imaginary line based upon the posterior surface, not the anterior surface or the ventral surface. I will tell you in a minute about these things. So just for a minute, just trust me that this is an imaginary line that is dividing the medulla oblongata into two parts. So one you call it as the upper part of the medulla oblongata and the other one you call it as the lower part of the medulla oblongata. Upper part as well as the lower part of the medulla oblongata, right? Now this upper part of the medulla oblongata is also called as the open part of medulla oblongata. Lower part of the medulla oblongata is also called as the closed part of medulla oblongata. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is that, see, this is your medulla oblongata. So medulla oblongata, this surface which you can see from the top till the bottom, this is called as your ventral surface of your medulla oblongata. Ventral or the anterior surface of your medulla oblongata, right? So here, what did I tell you? Here I have just divided this part like this into two halves. Upper half, lower part. Upper part is called as open part, lower part is called as closed part. But this is not open, this is closed and this is also closed. All of you know that, right? And most importantly, you know, in the center of the medulla oblongata, you have got what? You have got a central canal. You studied ventricles, right? So we have discussed one very important thing in the ventricles like this. Let me draw that part here. Let us say this part over here is called as your midbrain. All of you know that. Okay. Next, down here you have got your pons, and down here you have got your medulla oblongata and continuing down a spinal cord. And where is your ventricle? Where is your cerebellum located? See, this part is your cerebellum. Okay. And this part is called as your midbrain. midbrain. This is called as your pons, and this is called as your medulla oblongata, right? For example, if I am shading this area completely, let us say I am shading this midbrain completely like this, right? I am shading the medulla oblongata also completely in this way. So in this particular picture, if you see, if I am drawing one line over here, see, if I am drawing a line that is separating all the way like this, you see what is this line which I am drawing right now in the center of the midbrain? This is called as cerebral aqueduct. And in the same way, I am also drawing one more line like this. Okay, so let us say this is the line, right? Now if you can see here that this particular part is called as cerebral aqueduct. This particular part is called as cerebral aqueduct. Now cerebral aqueduct, for example, if I am drawing dotted lines, you see cerebral aqueduct is in continuous with this cavity over here. So this cavity, whatever I am highlighting it right now here, this cavity over here is called as your cavity of the fourth ventricle. This cavity of the fourth ventricle is in continuous with the cavity within the medulla oblongata, right? The cavity which is present within the medulla oblongata, this is called as a central canal. Central canal. So this is medulla oblongata, and you can see a canal here. This canal is called as the central canal. So anterior part is divided into two parts: upper open, lower closed part. Now if I rotate this, onto the back like this, so this is your dorsal surface or the posterior surface. So this dorsal or posterior, you can see a division here, this V-shaped mark, right? So exactly here if I draw a line, so I can divide exactly near this V-shaped junction. If I draw a line, right, like this, I can divide this medulla oblongata into two parts. This is called as the upper part, this is called as the lower part. You see upper part is open or lower part is open? Obviously upper part is open, lower part is closed. That is the reason why I told you the upper part of the medulla oblongata is an open. Why it is open? Because this canal, whatever you can see here, this is called as a central canal. So central canal is exposed where? It is exposed on the ventral side, or it is exposed on the dorsal side? It is exposed on the dorsal side. In the dorsal side, it is exposed on the upper part or the lower part? In the upper part. Okay, so that is why you call this upper part over here as what? The open part. So this is a thing which I basically wanted to tell you, that this is a central canal. So the upper part is called as a open part and the lower part is called as a closed part, right? So when I discuss the picture from behind, then it would be much more better for you. And second important thing is that just above this imaginary line, you can actually see fibers that are running like this, you see, on both the sides. So these fibers which are arc shaped, right, these are exactly not arc shaped. Okay, let me draw it in the arc shape like this. You see, these are arc shaped fibers which are running like this. So on both the sides of the pyramids, right? So these arc shaped fibers are called as anterior arcuate fibers. Why anterior? Again the same story, because they are present on the anterior side. So these fibers over here are called as anterior arcuate fibers. Anterior arcuate fibers. Okay. So these are the structures which you can see from the anterior side. Now there are much more structures actually, but I cannot draw all these structures in a single picture because it would be like a kind of messy. So what I will do is that few names I have written here. Again I will draw this picture, right, and again I will show you some other structures which are located there, okay, because if I draw all the structures here, it would be a kind of messy over here, right. So this structure over here is called as your midbrain, all of you know that, and just beneath the midbrain you have got your pons. So beneath the pons and the medulla oblongata, this junction over here is called as your pontomedullary junction. Okay. Next important thing is these two structures, one is called as the right pyramid, another one is called as the left pyramid. Now if I am dividing imaginarily into two parts, we have got the upper part, we have got the lower part. What is upper part called as open, lower part is called as a closed, right? What are these structures over here? These are called as olives. Second important thing is we have got anterolateral sulcus on both the sides, but we have got only one anterior median fissure. Okay, anterolateral sulcus are both, anterior median fissure is one. And the last important part is we have got arcuate fibers. These are called as anterior arcuate fibers, right? So, and there is a decussation here. What is this decussation? Yes, this kind of decussation is called as pyramidal decussation. Okay, so I hope you are clear. So this is all about the anterior view or the ventral view of the external features of your medulla oblongata. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.